if you're watching this, you're either thinking about taking Mounjaro, or maybe you've actually started and wanted to see how other people are doing with it. My name's Gary, aka Hempy, and I thought there would be a little bit of value in sharing my experience with you guys. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to get into here. I just completed my first week, and there are a couple notable things that I want to bring up with you guys. Before I get into that, I will say I will make another video for those of you who have already been subscribed to the channel, explaining like where I've been and why I've decided to take Mounjaro at this point, because I think that's an important conversation. It wasn't something I just did on a whim. A lot of thought and consideration went into making that decision. So let's talk about the injection. Right, this is a Mounjaro pen. It's not as scary as some of you think. Some of you guys I know are very adverse to needles. There is a slight pinch from it, but it's very mild. But to use this one's already one that I used. It is very simple to do so. It takes all of 30 seconds to do your weekly dosage. So I take a alcohol swab. I'll clean the part of my stomach in which I'm going to do the injection on. On these, there's a plastic base that comes on it. You just remove the base, press it to your skin. So I'm going to just put it on my press it to your skin. I was going to put it up to my chest, but I don't want to put that message out there. Press it to your skin, and then you'll notice right on here, hopefully you can see that, there's a locked and unlocked button. So once you have it to your skin, you twist the top from the locked position to the unlocked position, and at that point you can press the top to actually send the syringe, which is in here, it's spring loaded, in, and it will give you the dosage. It takes all of like 5 to 10 seconds for the needle to administer the dosage to you, and at that point it retracts back into it. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but the needle actually is about like right where my finger's at. So they're like, if I go right here, even if I try pressing in, like at that point I'm pressing the tip of the needle. So these do have to get thrown away in a sharps container. My plan is once I'm done with the first 4, put them back in the box, take them back to the pharmacy, which is on my campus, and throw them away in their sharps container. Yeah, the one thing that kind of freaked me out the first time I did the injection was after I've done it. I wasn't looking at it. I'm not squeamish of needles, but I don't enjoy looking at them either. When I looked and I pulled this off, I saw a small droplet on top of my skin, and I was like, oh man, don't tell me I messed this up. Did it actually administer the drug? Did it just like prick the top of my skin and then it actually inject in? I had to do a good 10-15 minutes of searching online to see that, that is a normal thing to happen. Just like a little bit of the compound, I guess, will like come out, and that's normal. Just kind of, they recommend is getting a cotton swab and just kind of rubbing it in, massaging it in to the injection site, and whenever it came out, that's acceptable. Okay, so if that happens to you, I don't want you to freak out. I mean, I know I was a little concerned, so I can see why you would be too. So let's actually talk about how I felt, what happened during the week in which I was taking the drug. So day 1, I didn't really notice anything. I was all right. Like, I've heard some people get really bad nausea or heartburn, and didn't feel anything. So I was like, all right, cool, let's keep on trucking, right? Day 2 and 3, I felt like my appetite was suppressed, but I didn't know if it was like, is this just me in my head because I'm starting a new medication? Is it a placebo effect, kinda? It wasn't super clear to me that it was working. That, again, this is just my personal experience. I know other people have had dramatically other ones. Day 4 and 5, though, it was noticeable that the Mounjaro was working in my system. Now, something I was doing for this first week, I was trying to eat the same food and meals that I ate the week before. My reason for doing this is because I wanted to know whether there's any nausea or any digestive disruption that might have happened that it would be caused strictly by the medication and not by a whole change of diet. In the past, when have tried this diet or that diet, it can, if you totally change the input to your system, it can get a, we'll say, dramatic effect after, coming out of you. And I didn't want to do that. So on day 4, I think it was, I went to my local Chinese food spot and I ordered a dinner and a thing of soup. And, the week before when I got that, I had killed off the dinner, the soup, and had like 1 or 2 Diet Pepsis along with it. And that was all within like an hour. That was the week before. But day 4, when I was on the medication and it happened, I ate about half the meal, maybe a quarter of the soup, and I was like, you know what? Like, I think I'm done. Like, I really don't want to eat anymore after this. And it's not like I had a big lunch or anything. I had a very small lunch. Actually, I think I just had like a RX protein bar. I was in the office. I didn't pack a lunch. I just ate a protein bar that I had on my desk. And so I thought I was going to have a big dinner, but no. And I was like, it's interesting that, I'm feeling the effects of this. So profound, at day 4 and 5. Now, by the time I got to day 6 and 7, I started feeling hungry again. And I've seen other people talk about this. They show like, some people have it to where the first 4 or 5 days, they're not hungry at all. They can't even eat. And by the time they get to day 6 and 7, they're, up and going 100% back to where they're like pretty much at the before, taking any of these medications. And so yeah, normal hunger and appetite was coming back. And this makes a lot of sense when you consider Mounjaro has a 5-day half-life, which means it takes about 5 days for only about 50% of the dosage to still be active in your body. Now, I plan on doing a separate video where I can get into some of the math behind that and educate you guys on like half-life kinetics. And I want to have my buddy JP come talk to about the medication and how it's actually interacting in your body, as he knows it more intimately than I do. That's his stuff. That's what he studies. He's really into the biochemistry, and he could get into how it's actually acting in your body, and we could talk about those topics during that video. Now you might be asking, what were the side effects? Was it all just, was it just appetite suppressant, or was there anything negative that occurred during this time? And nothing huge, not this first week, nothing huge. I did burp more than normal, but I've heard other people talk all those Ozempic burps, right? And they said like, oh, they're ungodly, they're so rancid, they're terrible. And mine were more or less just normal burps, just more frequent than I would say I'd typically burp. I don't have any metrics or data to support that. But it's, my experience with it. First week, no nausea to really speak of. But, I did just eat noticeably less. And so maybe sometimes in the morning, a slight bit, but like no more than I would say. It didn't stand out as like, oh yeah, this is definitely a side effect of medication. No, didn't experience any of that. But for the results, I did lose 4 pounds. Sorry, jumped ahead of the script. I did lose 4 pounds, and this is on par with what I've achieved in the past when I've started other programs. So 4 pounds in a week is definitely normal for me. As you see in the pictures, I am a big guy. I'm 6'2". So don't compare my first week weight loss to yours. If you're, let's say 200 pounds and much shorter, we don't have to get into numbers, right? And so if you're much lighter, your numbers are going to be different than mine. I watched other videos where somebody said, I think it was somebody who was like 200 pounds and they lost 12 pounds in 1 week, and I was like, that's kind of crazy. JP has told me 1 to 2% of your body weight is what you could kind of expect in a normal caloric deficit. So somebody's saying they lost 12 pounds. I'm gonna guess there's a lot of water there, or maybe they had just drank a lot of water the night before, the week before they weighed in, and like they kind of optimize how to get that biggest like delta, the biggest change in their weight. Because you'd have to have a crazy caloric expenditure to lose 12 pounds of fat in a week. Like that's not typical. One of the other things I'm tracking beyond my weight is my blood pressure. I do that because I have a home blood pressure monitor at home. Very simple to do. When I wake up on Sundays, I go sit down, check my email. After I've been seated for about 10 minutes, I do my blood pressure, and then I go and I'll do an injection. So yeah, that's 135 over 80, right around there, plus or minus a few, which is where my blood pressure typically stays at. So it's nothing of direct concern, but it's just something I want to monitor because it would be nice to know if it starts going up. Now, everything to this point has gone well. There's no reason for me to be concerned about moving forward, taking the second injection, which I already have. And yeah. And if, I guess a tip I would give to you if you're starting your first week would be that I'd recommend to track the meals you eat the week before. Where did you eat? How much did you eat? What did you order? How did you feel after the meal? And then maybe try to repeat some of those same meals, on day 2, 3, 4, and see what difference you felt. I think that's something to really focus on in this first week is how is the drug making you feel? Don't try to. I would say, don't try to put lifestyle changes across the board because then you won't know. Is it just the exercise? Is it me doing this ketogenic diet that's changing me up, or you want to minimize the amount of variables you have there to see how this is affecting you. So with that being said, this first week I didn't implement any additional exercise or movements that I wasn't already doing. Didn't change my diet this first week, and moving forward that's definitely going to change. And I'll talk about that in future videos. I do plan on doing a weekly check-in with you guys. I will be putting these out on a 2-week delay. That way it gives me a bit of a buffer because I think last time I was trying to put them out, a few days. I was trying to stay up to date as much as possible with you guys, and when I got bogged down with work, it was hard to keep up with the videos, and I just stopped doing them altogether. So I don't want to do that. I gave myself a 2-week buffer to do that. So if you ask me a question in the comments and I don't get it to in the next video, I'll get to it eventually. Just give me time. Okay. And then I'll also occasionally do a second video on certain weeks if there's a topic or something that happens that I feel merits its own discussion. The one that I immediately have planned to do is like why I actually chose to start the medication at this point. That one will follow maybe later this week or early next week. So thank you guys for watching if you're still around. If you'd like to follow along, which I love to see you guys and share your stories along with it, consider liking this video and hit that subscribe button. And there you have it, guys. I'll see you guys around. Take it easy.